Hey, this is GatorX, and I'm still coming down from the high of the Pokemon Sword and Shield trailer yesterday. It was just so amazing. Now, obviously, one of the big things to talk about from this trailer are the new starters. Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sobble, which by the way, y'all better be part of the Sobble squad, we swimming up now. But of course, with all the cool fan art that people are drawing, one can't help but think what these Pokemon might look like once they start to evolve. Now, obviously, I can't make many big predictions. I was completely wrong about the Sun and Moon starter final evolutions being real. I just assumed they were fake until they were actually revealed to be real. So obviously I'm no authority on starter Pokemon evolutions. But I still find evolution speculation videos fun to do. This used to be a series back on my channel during Sun and Moon, but don't look for those videos, even I don't have them. But the point is, we've got some new starters to work with. Obviously, good artwork takes time, which I didn't exactly have at the moment. I just threw these together by Frankensteining Pokemon parts. And I also made them to make other people mad. But point is, I'm just going to have this terrible art up on the screen while I talk about some general thoughts. For Grookey, I think it should just kind of continue along this path of being a monkey. It should get a little more serious as it continues to evolve. Maybe not necessarily to the point where Infernape is. But for one thing, I think the stick in its hair could eventually become something like a staff. You know, continue along with that Sun Wukong kind of motif that we typically see in other monkeys. For typing, I almost kind of want to say that this should be the Pokemon that becomes grass fighting. Again, it's kind of a similar thought process to Infernape, but I definitely think that if it does continue along with what I suggested in it having a staff when it evolves, that might be something that could work out. I do think that grass Pokemon starters do kind of benefit from remaining just grass types as they reach their final forms, but with monkey Pokemon I feel like fighting or normal type kind of suits them best. I don't exactly think that it should end up being a grass normal Pokemon by its final evolution, as slapping on the normal typing to regular elemental Pokemon typically doesn't really work that well. It does give them an immunity to Ghost, but it does give them that extra added weakness to fighting. Again, the evolution could just take a 180 and it could end up being something like a grass dark type, which would be very welcome. But at present, I'm thinking that this might work as the grass fighting type. Alright, next is Scorbunny, and like I said, this image is just to make people mad. Now, people are obviously having a fear that Scorbunny might end up being a fire fighting type by its final evolution, mostly because of that band-aid on its nose. But okay, hear me out. Out of the 7 fire-type starter Pokemon we have, only 3 of them are fighting type. If Scorbunny ends up being fighting type, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But at the same time, let me say that I don't want it to be fighting type. Again, this is another Pokemon that I think could keep its sole fire type through its entire evolution. I have seen theories and discussion that it could be a fire steel by the end of its evolution tree, and maybe give it something like armor. That might be cool. Although I don't know if that's a type that we necessarily want as a starter Pokemon. While it does have a 4x weakness to ground, it is a very solid typing, and it's basically what made Heatran really good, along with its moveset. I do think that maybe something like a Fire Fairy type could be cool. For one thing, we only have one Fairy type starter Pokemon, and I don't necessarily want to say that this would be a Pokemon that ends up being more feminine by its final evolution, because that's something that happened with the Generation 7 starters. They all kind of looked pretty regular at its first stage, but then by the final stage they were, cool guy, strong man, and beautiful woman, basically. Although, like I've said, I would not complain about Scorbunny if it ends up being Lopunny 2.0. And lastly, Sobble, the best one. For one thing, Sobble is a chameleon-like Pokemon, and we saw it blend in with the water. So I've heard discussion about it possibly being Water Ghost by its final evolution. And hey, I'm all for that. Water Ghost is the typing that we haven't seen a whole lot of. And I think it'd be a great idea for Sobble to go from being timid and scared to it eventually becoming something like a creepy ghost Pokemon. Yeah, we did get a ghost type starter in the last games, but obviously this might be something that works out. Alternatively, I think it could become a water psychic type, because psychic is still pretty mystical and could fit in with the whole camouflage chameleon motif. And in terms of design, I think that the route of it being scared to it going to be cool / creepy is something that we would typically see in Pokemon designs. But anyway, that's kind of it for this starter discussion. Again, there's not a whole lot to go off of. Maybe if I have the time, I'll try to actually draw some decent looking Pokemon, or at least as decent as I can get, because that'd be a better way to communicate the design ideas that I think might work out. Although as far as typing goes, I think that the whole Grass Dark, Fire Fairy, and Water Ghost might work out, even though it's just kind of a rotation of the last evolution line. But I mean, hey, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I do want to remind you to check out my other channel, GatorX Plays, where I post gameplay videos, and my podcast, which happens every 2 weeks. There's a new episode going up this week. All your support means so much, especially with the last video. Anyway, if you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out, and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorX. Have a nice day.